Hi, everybody. This is Zikri Khalil again. We are back here with another It Matters, where we talk about everything that matters in our societies. Today, we have a very special guest. It is someone that we've been working with for a very long time, someone who I could call a good friend. And he has been in this industry of recycling, upcycling, repurposing all of our waste and has turned it into something that really matters to all the communities in Malaysia. So I'd like to invite Rashvin Singh, who is the group CEO of Biji-biji initiatives, and let's see what he has to talk about with us today. Welcome, Rashvin, to the show.
Hey, Zikri.
How
Thanks
are
for
you?
having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I know this is quite a interesting time that we're living in at the moment, but for those viewers who are not really aware of the work that you do and who you are, would you mind introducing yourself a bit?
Sure. Good to see you, bro. Hey, everybody. As Zikri introduced, I'm Rashvin Pal Singh from the Biji-biji initiative. At Biji-biji, we look at three things. So there's Biji-biji that works on sustainability. On that, we particularly focus on circular economy solutions. Then we have an ethical fashion line as well that uses upcycling to make products, also tackling circular economy. And in 2017, we launched our education outfit, which is called Me.reka. So Me.reka is a subsidiary of Biji-biji, and Me.reka is an education ed tech startup that looks at preparing our youth for the talents and industries of the future.
I'm curious, how did Biji-biji came about? I know your story from a lot of talks I've attended from the past 6 years, 7 years even. But to make it in layman terms, what was the real problem that got you into this, actually?
Okay. No, that's a pretty on-point question, right? Because you always want to find out what was that thing that got you into it, what made that leap. So, I'll share with you, bro. So prior to this, I was actually in the corporate world. So I was working at PwC. I was doing that for about 4 years at that point. And, it was a good job. I really enjoyed it. Challenging, demanding. But there's two parts. So on the personal part, that job allowed me to work with multiple different companies, global scale, regional scale, and it hit me when I was doing a few of the international development projects and some of the bigger corporate projects. It really hit me that, hang on a minute, we actually have access to all the financial capital in the world, all the human capital in the world, and all the technological capital in the world. Right? So we've got all the money, all the people, right skills, and all the tech to solve any pressing issue that we need. However, the only thing lacking is a lack of human or political or organization will. And that was when it kind of hit me that, you know what, Rash, if I'm not part of the problem, not part of the solution, sorry, then I'm technically part of the problem. And voila, decided that it's time to make that leap. And I think the most why Biji-biji, if as you were asking, is that it hit us pretty strong as an urban outfit, as living in the city. Urban waste was something that you confront with all the time. And so happened we were living next to a new condo that just got developed, and we were firsthand shocked by the amount of waste that was being created by a new development, new furniture, new parquet flooring being demolished right in front of us. And we felt that, let's see how to turn this into something more valuable. And it really started off as a hobbyist/weekend project that has now evolved into a full-time 10-year organization coming.
It's fantastic, man. I mean, it's a huge hats to you for where you are now. I've always been seeing the amount of progress, amount of large projects that have deeply impacted many of the communities nationwide, regionally as well. And apart from waste, we know that there are people like you who are championing on trying to, not just upcycle them or repurpose, but also to find ways to, make great use of them as commodities. But other than that, are there other problems? Because pandemic just is still around. It's been 1 year and 3 months since the first pandemic happened. And I'm curious, how has that changed for you guys at this moment? Like, what is there? I'm sure there's a new problem at helm that is worrying the crap out of people, and I think we all can relate to that on a personal level. And would you mind sharing a bit on that?
Oh, definitely. I think the question they like to ask is what keeps you awake at night. And Zikri, so to be fair, like the environmental work that we do at Biji-biji has been quite affected because a lot of the work involves being on the ground, working with communities, especially slightly rural and outskirts, and looking at how we could implement recycling, circular economy solutions with them. So on the Biji-biji side, our ability to hit the ground running has had multiple challenges, as you know, with the lockdowns and the restrictions. However, on the Me.reka side, one thing that we are fully going into and we are like tackling and we see it as a huge problem is particularly unemployment as a whole. And in the unemployment issue, the big thing here is youth unemployment. So you're looking at about 13% youth unemployment this year, right? And that number is growing. We're expecting a further 70,000 graduates coming out this year. And as you know, it's not a very warm and welcoming job market. So it is a problem that is pertinent, and it is a problem that is growing. And that is what Me.reka is looking at through our digital entrepreneurship program.
So I did not know there'll be more graduates coming in, and I can definitely foresee it will be incredibly difficult for them to look for the jobs that they're looking for.
It's crazy, bro, because like companies are going to prioritize people with some experience, right? So you've got people with experience who are being retrenched and they are looking for jobs. Now throw in a whole new set of fresh graduates and
at your helm with Me.reka, again, another amazing thing that you guys started. Love the space at Publica, which all of you can visit if you're watching in Kuala Lumpur. With this youth unemployment coming into growing ever it's just scaring a lot of people, especially parents and the youngsters who are living and trying to make a living. What are you guys doing at the moment to sort of offset this issue? Is it a temporary band-aid, or is this a long-term thing that you guys are doing that could also be COVID-proof in that sense?
No, so I think that's the spot on to ask, right? Because whilst you might look at creating what they call time-specific interventions, I think ultimately what you are here to do and what we are here to do is to create systemic change that will not just solve it during a pandemic time, but something that goes on beyond. So, Zikri, like being very real, right? Yes, the current economy is quite tough and there is a severe lack of jobs. Companies are not hiring. Companies are changing the way they hire, right? Companies are looking at how, companies are nervous to commit to full-time employment. So we're seeing a huge shift in the trend of how organizations are hiring people. And on the flip side, we're also seeing a contraction of the local economy. So we asked ourselves, how do we flip this? How do we wear an island of abundance of new opportunity, or blue ocean, as you like to say, as compared to fighting in a tight space? And what the Me.reka Entrepreneur Program is here to do is to prepare our youth, our graduates, and even working people, working experience. How do they tap into the global digital economy, right? So we know other markets are recovering as we speak. We know that the US, there's a huge amount of gig work that is being given out. So we're looking at how do we provide skilled people with high income, high skilled digital work. And that's what the whole program is about.
Fantastic. And of course, it sounds like you're on the right track, and I've seen the beginnings of this work. But to an average Malaysian or human being who's watching this, knowing that this is a problem that's not affecting them, how is this something that they should really care about? Why should I care about this problem so much, even though I'm not affected by it, and so that they can understand how big of a magnitude it is for solving such issues?
No, fair. I would say, bro, like at the very crux of it, it is an awareness that we live in a highly interconnected, interlocked economy, right? So as you see during the lockdown, you realize that one sector being disrupted has a domino effect on multiple people. And living in a capitalist economy, we are consumption driven. And when you have such an unemployment issue, you are effectively affecting every existing business out there. You are having a huge drain on the government's existing resources to provide financial aid. You are having a huge drain on family resources who now have youth or even people who have studied, invested in education, and now not being able to apply that. And in essence, bro, it is just wasted potential, to be very crude about it. So this is a problem that doesn't just affect whether you're an employer or not. This affects everybody because unemployment is just basically underutilized potential. And how do we solve that problem is a huge question to answer.
No, definitely, of course. I know it's a big question to ask, and I'm sure as our viewers are watching, at least they can understand the extension of just a problem like this can reach them somewhere down the line. And for those who do understand and knowing that this is an issue that must be addressed, even whether it's coming from the government or from the private sector or even from a social enterprise like yours, how can we do our part as an individual, and how can we do more to help you complete this mission?
Okay, so for starters, bro, what will be super needed is we've just launched this program and we actually have 400 scholarship places left. And this is, of course, targeting youth from the B40 category, so lower income groups, right? And we're looking at how we could provide them with the right navigational parts to enter into the high-skilled gig economy market. So sharing with people about this program will be fantastic. That's number one. Number two is, as we create the supply of talent who can partake in this economy, we also need to create the demand side of it, who will hire this group of people. So on the demand side of it is really looking at, if you are a part of an SME, you're part of an organization, or you have family members or friends who run an organization, get them to check out our platform, get them to check out the talent profiles that we have. And if you need, so we have skill sets that range from digital marketing, content creation, web dev, right, very highly digital applicable skills. And if you could look at how you could create bite-size or chunk-size jobs to outsource, this would be fantastic because you are directly providing them with experience, with income, and you are in return are getting a high-value service. And this is what I think we really need for us to all propel ourselves up.
And you mentioned this scholarship. What's the program called again?
So it's called the Me.reka Digital Entrepreneur Program. And to be fair, it's actually, the cost of the program is typically 1,280 ringgit, 1280. But we have 500 scholarship spaces, 100 has already been given out. So there's 400 left. There's an intake starting in the end of July. So yeah, I would say get on it.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, because I'll make sure people who are seeing this will be able to understand where they can talk about it. So for those who are watching, do share about anyone who would be really a great fit for such a program by Me.reka. I think there are 400 places left, you mentioned,
yep.
Right? So make yourself available, or if you know someone who needs it, especially from communities who want to take a huge leap of faith in becoming more digital savvy and getting into the whole gig economy, this is your chance. We'll be sharing that also for you guys, also on our media platforms. Also, Rashvin, I think I'd like to end this call, this talk with you, whether if you have a message that you'd like to tell everyone, it could be inspirational, it could be motivational, something that would really hit the feels so that we can really stand tall, stay more hopeful than ever on why we should just be a bit more patient and look for opportunities. And if there is a none, we make one. So by all means, blast your juices.
Bro, I tell you what, I'll share with you the mantras that we use within Biji-biji and Me.reka all the time. And this is usually what we tell ourselves, we tell our team, is that, look, in any challenging situation, you can flip it and you can look at it from a lens of an opportunity, right? We live in a time where knowledge is not limited. So knowledge is no longer power, but action is power. And it is the small things that make the big things work. So never underestimate the power of your little action, because it is the small gears, small cogs that make the big wheels shift.
Rashvin Pal Singh, thank you so much for being part of It Matters. I wish you all the best, and we'll do what we can to tell your message to the rest of the world. So thank you for having us. This is Zikri signing out. I hope you enjoyed the session, and we'll see you again at the next It Matters live show. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.